Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Alberta News and Views. Today, Pierre Poilievre just dropped a nuke on Justin Trudeau. He released a video called Call It Now if you want to check it out. Now, he released this criticizing Justin Trudeau for the video that Justin made yesterday while talking at the Citizen Zero movement, talking about climate change. Justin Trudeau literally said that Canadians should put taking care of their family and feeding them second to climate change. So Pierre Poilievre comes out with this video and just decimates him. We're going to watch this. But first, I have to give you an update with the pretendian Randy Boissonnault in Alberta. This is from Michael Cooper. He is the Conservative MP for St. Albert, Edmonton. He says, Edmonton police are investigating Randy Boissonnault's shady company for fraud. Yes, fraud. This follows reports of Randy's business connections to a cocaine trafficker and Randy getting caught pretending to be Indigenous. Long past due for Randy to resign. Police investigating Randy Boissonnault's former company business partner. As calls mount for Liberal Cabinet Minister Randy Boissonnault to resign over conflicting claims about his family's Indigenous heritage, Global News has learned Edmonton police are investigating an allegation of fraud made against Boissonnault's former company and business partner. You know, it is just one thing after another. And don't forget that Justin Trudeau turfed Jody Wilson-Raybould because she refused to participate in corruption, in actions of corruption, and she got punted over that. And now one of his ministers, his main ministers, actually is getting investigated for corruption, for fraud, and cocaine trafficking. Seriously. And he's still sticking around because he thinks that's a good idea coming the next election. These people are absolutely shameless. Continuing on, here is the nuke that Pierre Poilievre just dropped on Justin Trudeau. Here we go.
Justin, I hope you're nice and toasty in Brazil, where you just flew, burning over 100 tons of jet fuel and putting over 100 tons of emissions into the atmosphere. Also that you can sit around on a big fancy panel giving a speech lecturing Canadians about why they are wrong to oppose your carbon tax.
And it's really, really easy when you're in a short-term survive. I got to be able to pay the rent this month. I got to be able to buy groceries for my kids, to say, okay, let's put climate change as a slightly lower priority. And that's something that's instinctive. When the storm comes, you want to hunker down and just sort of huddle up and wait for it to blow over. We can't do that around climate change. And unfortunately, we have an awful lot of political amplification of the kind of narrative that is directly opposed to that.
You claim that Canadians are just naive and they've been tricked by what you call disinformation into opposing this tax on their heat, housing, food, and fuel. But Canadians are not stupid, Justin. They oppose the tax because they see its price at the grocery store, where food has gone up 36% faster here in Canada than in the United States, a phenomenon that incidentally coincided with the application of your tax. They also know that the Parliamentary Budget Officer has said that 100% of middle-class families pay more in carbon tax costs than they get back in rebates. But you did say something that I do agree with. You admitted that the next election is all about the carbon tax.
It is no longer free to pollute in Canada, and we've won 3 elections on it already, and I'm going to be facing a 4th where it's very much in question.
And I couldn't agree more. In fact, the choice will be very simple. Either Canadians will vote for the NDP Liberals to quadruple the carbon tax to 61 cents a litre, which will grind our economy to a halt and mean that all the iron workers that build this incredible material here will be out of a job while Canadians will be out of food, or the common sense Conservatives who will axe the tax to bring home more affordable food and more powerful paychecks.
Yeah.
So, Justin, you want a carbon tax election? Why don't you call it so the Canadians can bring it home?
Yep. You know, it is so infuriating when Justin Trudeau says that he won he won these past elections, he didn't. He didn't. It was foreign election interference. We had fraudulent elections. Why he doesn't call one based off of that? Why our media, why just Canadians aren't forcing an election? They were fraudulent. They weren't free or fair. It's disgusting that he always goes out there and says, well, I won the last elections. No, you didn't. You were placed there. What else is infuriating is he just assumes that everybody is on board with climate change and climate policy. We're not. We can't, work doesn't pay in Canada, and we can't go on like this because it is unsustainable. Canada is unsustainable. We have no housing. Our paychecks are cut in half because it goes to the government and it goes to social programs that are pretty much collapsed because of mass immigration. It is unbelievable, the fantasy land that this guy lives in. This is Justin in Brazil right now at the G20. The whole world is done with Justin Trudeau. It is pathetic at this point. He has no allies, no friends. The world is moving on without him. It is unreal. Now, if you're wondering what the future holds for Canada if Justin Trudeau wins the next election, wonder no more. Listen to this, because it is more of the same, but worse.
I also wanted to ask you what the election of Donald Trump might mean for climate action. We've seen that Trump has nominated for his energy secretary a fracking executive who's on record as saying there is no climate crisis. Are you worried about where climate action is going with Trump coming in as president, and will you have to do anything differently?
I think we have all seen around the world the impact of climate change, the economic costs of climate change, the impacts on vulnerable populations, the impacts on citizens in the most advanced economies like the poorest economies. And we need everyone to be doing everything we can, particularly the largest emitters, to reduce those emissions so that we can preserve not just a cleaner future, but an economically successful future. So yeah, I'm worried about the U.S. Stepping back on the fight against climate change. But from a Canadian perspective, we have demonstrated and we have seen that fighting climate change can both help directly with affordability by putting more money in people's pockets with the Canada Carbon Rebate. It's creating tremendous opportunity for growth and investment. We've seen, Canada was number 3 country in the world for foreign direct investment last year. A lot of it because of clean energy, a lot of it because of environmental leadership and responsibility. We have the number 1 EV battery supply chain in the world, according to Bloomberg. And these are things that we have done because we're harnessing the economic opportunities of climate change. And if the United States steps back on the kind of innovation and supports that, for example, we have in our tax credits on clean investment, on innovative energy solutions, then more investment will be coming into Canada. We're already number 1 in the G20 for per capita for foreign direct investment. We've seen foreign direct investment increase by 60% since 2015, largely because of our investments in fighting climate change that are attractive to companies around the world. If people look at the United States as not a place where it's interesting to innovate and fight climate change, people will automatically turn to Canada. And if Mr. Trump doesn't want to take on the opportunities associated with climate change, Canada will continue to.
The words subsidies and taxpayer dollars sound really bad. So Justin Trudeau, his masters told him to say, don't use those words. Call it investments. So when Justin Trudeau says that blah, 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 foreign investment into Canada, blah, 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 investment, What it really is Canada is giving billions, hundreds and hundreds of billions of taxpayer dollars as subsidies to lure and bribe all these other foreign companies to come to Canada. That when he touts and says that Canada has the #1 battery supply chain, it's not even up and running. It's not even close. And the only reason why it might be #1 is because all of the other battery supply chains around the planet right now are collapsing, literally collapsing. There's a battery plant in Sweden that is pretty much collapsed. They're laying off everybody, a whole bunch of people, and Justin Trudeau just gave them $1 billion to set up shop. I believe it's in Quebec. You know, it just, the fact that he keeps on going on like this is just a testament of his government, where they are willing to just steal and lie. Everything about Justin Trudeau's net zero climate agenda is nothing short of just money laundering. With his green slush fund that he refuses to release the papers on, over $400 million. Seriously, today the NDP said that Canadians are not interested in where the $400 million went. That is who these people are. They do not care. These people will preach climate all day long, yet he will fly to Brazil when he knows that he could just sit at his office in Ottawa and just do a Zoom call. All of these people are climate hypocrites. The only reason that they push climate is because it makes them feel like they have purpose in life, because they are the most entitled, spoiled brats on the planet. That is what they all have in common with each other. They feel nothing because they have accomplished nothing, because they have never had to even try. So they are empty inside. So they latch on to climate because their masters told them to use it as a vehicle to push through a bazillion other agendas. It is unreal. All it is just a huge, huge virtue signaling scam just to give them some feeling of humanity and normality. It truly is astounding. I will keep you updated with as much as I can when I can. All of you out there, like, share, and take care.